Alright, all you kings and queens and leaderboards out there, welcome back to the Indy Radio Arcade. And according to the Maestro, and I got a feeling he's right, that review for Borderlands 3 has to be one of the longest reviews we've done to date. And yeah, I told him during the break we wanted to make sure we left no stone unturned for that game, and completely forgot to mention the fact that you can P-Towns and slide, and not to mention the car controls are the same as they were since the first Borderlands game. Really wish they would change it, but after a while I've gotten so used to it I don't even notice it anymore. Until the parts when I drive off the cliff. But besides going off that razor's edge in a video game, folks, I think it's time for us to put your high scores on high display along with those indie games along the way for another edition of the Indy Wall of Fame. And the first game that we have up comes from the developers City Connection and Zero Div, or Zero Div? You know, we'll go with that, with their set game, Samurai Aces 3 Sengoku Cannon. And this game automatically reminds me of a combination of not only Street Fighter, Dynasty Warriors, but most importantly of all, of Life Force. And here's hoping in the near future for this game that not only you get a chance to use a Kamehameha wave-like beam to destroy your enemies, and according to the Maestro, flip to page 6 and boy oh boy is it there, but also a chance to play alongside with your friends to hopefully beat that giant oversized monster-like boss that you have to fight in this game as well. That I do believe that is on page 3? Yeah, that's page 3. Nice! With a giant moth. And yeah, here's also a chance for you to actually use a katana sword as well as using beam attacks to take out enemies in this game too. And Maestro said there's no page with it, but yeah, I got a feeling katanas can be used as a weapon since one of the bosses that you're fighting in this digital world is using one against you. Hopefully you can, change his course right back at him. And speaking of using katana swords in games, folks, the next game that we have up comes from the developers Chris W. with their game, Florida Simulator 1986. And this game automatically reminds me of a combination of not only Scarface, Doom, and a little hint of GTA Vice City. Or should I just say Grand Theft Auto Vice City instead of abbreviating the title and give it the respect that it deserves? And here's hoping in the near future, and I got a feeling they already got it, and Maestro said yes they do, a chance to use a shotgun to take out those crocodiles, and also a chance to add a boat in this game as well to help you get from place to place. Or at least a chance for you to customize your own boat to go from place to place in this game as well. And according to the Maestro, not too entirely sure on the custom boat, but what about a fan boat? Oh, you're right. You know what? I would love to have a fan boat in this game too. They seem fun. And the next game that we have up, besides hunting down crocodiles like Steve Irwin in Florida in 1986, comes from the creators B2Expand with their set game, Light Trail Rush. And this game automatically reminds me of the Star Wars racing game with a little hint of Extreme G racing in there as well. Seeing the fact that most of the trails reminds me of tracks that was featured in Extreme G3. Yeah, really does. And here's hoping in this game that you get a chance to customize your own car to try to beat your opponents, besides going through these crazy tracks that are featured in the game when there's certain moments you're not even racing on a track at all. Yikes! Are you floating in the air on that one? According to the Maestro, you are. So here's hoping in this game, just like in the game Wipeout, they give you this electrical tether to help you slingshot your way back onto the track just in case you fall off. Yeah, because, electrical grappling hooks is what we need in more racing games. The next game that we have up, besides Maestro saying I have more of an obsession with grappling hooks than the next man, comes from the developers Purple Blast, nice developer name by the way, with their set game, Zombie School Survival. And this game automatically reminds me of a combination of not only Call of Duty with their zombie mode, but a little hint of the Combat Arms with their zombie mode as well. And here's hoping in the near future for this game, seeing the fact that certain weapons you have unlimited ammo, here's hoping that you can also upgrade your weapons along the way while you're trying to make it through this school of terror, and even trap the zombies in certain areas to blow up with explosions. Yeah, as a matter of fact, here's just hoping you have a flamethrower, a grenade launcher, or something to take out these zombies just in case the numbers get too much for you to handle. And according to the Maestro, no grenades, but there is a gun that releases gas. What gun is that? He says he doesn't know. So, moving along from that, folks, the last but not least game that we have up for this week comes from the creators, or the developers, Arcane 4 Studios, with their set game, Color Flux. And this game automatically reminds me of a combination of the Dr. Mario game with a little hit of Tetris in there as well. And here's hoping in the near future for this game that not only you get a chance to play alongside with your friends, but also get a chance to create your own puzzle maps that you can do in this game as well. And according to the Maestro, not too entirely sure about the multiplayer, but the creating of your own maps, not too sure on that as well either, but still a very colorful game. So here's hoping for a good soundtrack. You can't deny me of that, Maestro. You can't deny me of that. And besides that little comment I just made to the Maestro, folks, I think it's time for us to head into these high scores that are fresh off the pages from @highscore. And the first high score that we have up comes from the gamer known as Big2Rose. Nice name, by the way, with his high score of 81,500, a part of the Donkey Kong game of Donkey Kong, a part of the Apple. What, the original Apple computer? Not bad. Anyway, next high score that we have up comes from a high score mainstay known as Larquay with his high score of 19,742, a part of the Sega Master System game of Winmaru Scary Monsters Saga under hard difficulty. Next high score that we have up after that also comes from Larquay once again with his high score of 18,000, a part of the Sega Master System game of Weka Invaders. Or is it Weka Invaders? You know what, just in case, we'll go with the second one. And the next high score that we have up comes from Awesome Ogre with his high score of 554,950, a part of the Commodore 64 game of Super Mario Bros. 64. On the Commodore 64? Was it on that system, Maestro? Apparently it was. I just remember it being a part of the Nintendo. Well, I must have been wrong. Anyway, next game we have up comes from the gamer WDD with his high score of 38,990, a part of the Pac-Man Collect and Play game of Pac-Man by Bandai. Now I'm starting to sound like one of those commercials, so let's just move on to the next high score, which comes from Retro Rob with his high score of 388,140, a part of the Sega Genesis collection of Galaxy Force 2 for the PS4. Next high score that we have up after that comes from none other than Oyama Family with its high score of 244,880, a part of the classic Atari 7800 game of Pac-Man Collection, Pac-Man Orange Tube plus all fast on. And the next high score that we have up after that once again comes from Retro Rob with his high score of 350,240, a part of the PS4 game of Pinball Arcade Pinbot. So a robot pinball game? I wonder if it has, the song that Stick sung with Mr. Roboto as one of the pinball machines. A chance to take out Kilroy while you listen to that song. That'd be pretty cool. But before we space out, folks, the next high score that we have up comes from Frankie with his high score of 3,739,550, a part of the Amiga game of Superfrog. Dun, 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 dun. I don't know why I had the need to say that afterwards, but it felt appropriate with a high score that high. And besides that superhero noise that I got a feeling we're gonna probably add by the end of this all, the last but not least high score that we have up for this week comes from none other than Bam Mees with his high score of 20,200, a part of the PS3 game of Capcom Arcade Cabinet, Black Tiger Knee. And apparently Maestro said there was no knee at the end of it, but that's a force of habit from us. Anyway, folks, if you guys want to go ahead and check out any other cool high scores that are coming through the Twitterverse as we speak, or even submit a couple of your own, you can head on over to the Twitter page of one man only known as @highscore, or head on over to the website known as highscore.com to win cool prizes for your high scores. And like we say all the time in the parts of shows that we mention, with high scores and games that follow thereafter is a fair trade. And the high score that we have up for this week comes from none other than Frankie with his high score of 3,739,550, a part of the Amiga game of Superfrog. Thanks, Maestro. And if you guys want to check out the games that we talked about for this week, plus other games still trying to make their way to the main stage via the cargo ship, cargo plane, or even subterranean trains that are currently rumbling underneath your toes, you can go ahead and head on over to the store.steampower page, only known as store.steampower.com, and just click ever so lightly on that upcoming button, as well as clicking on that indie button as well, to check out a whole bunch of cool and awesome indie games that'll make you feel as super as a superhero that comes out with an opening theme such as this. Thanks, Maestro, and I do feel super while playing it too, even with that song included. Probably more super than I should be. Well, besides all that, folks, we might as well head back to the music, and when we return, we'll be back with this week's $64,000 question right after a word from our sponsors. So don't run out on the bonus round just yet, folks, and stay tuned.